ISA Class of 2020, I see you, and I want to welcome you to this virtual presentation for some special senior recognitions for the Class of 2020. Each year at the Senior Awards, we recognize seniors for their amazing achievements. At this year's Senior Awards, which would have been on May 17th, we would have passed out your honor graduate cords. You would have gotten a gold cord for a summa cum laude recognition, a red cord for a magna cum laude recognition, white cords for cum laude recognition, and green cords for presidential awards and educational achievement. Most of you have received these recognition cords at this moment. We would have also recognized our Munza Secretariat and our membership in our National Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, and other honor societies around the campus. However, when we sat down and talked about what the essence of Senior Awards really is about, is looking back at who you all were when you were younger students at ISA. So this presentation will feature 4 reflections from teachers from your past, teachers of your choosing, about when you were 9th graders, when you were 10th graders, 11th graders, and this year as seniors. There'll be some special recognitions too, but we hope you enjoy the reflections of your teachers from your past. Welcome to this year's virtual Senior Awards presentation.
My rhymes are so sick, you can call me Corona. Oh, hey guys, didn't see you there, which is funny because you're the class of 2020, like 2020 vision. Get it? Anyways, let me put this top secret project away. Not really sure where I should put it. Oh, maybe the floor. Yeah, the floor seems like a great idea. So hey guys, it's Mr. Anderson, aka DJ Candor 1, coming at you live for the freshman portion of your Senior Awards ceremony. I'm really happy to be a part of this experience with you, in spite of the worldwide pandemic situation we're currently in the midst of. And I'm also equally bummed about the fact that you're having to go through this in the latter part of your last year in high school. But alas, we're in an unprecedented time, and I think the go-to perspective we all have is that it's unfortunate, because it is, and it's unfair timing, because it seems to be. But I want to encourage you to attempt to see the coronavirus from another point of view, which is, it's an opportunity. In some ways more than any other class, the current state of the world at the end of your senior year is offering you the ultimate ISA experience. A lengthy opportunity to reflect on a global issue. Since your very first day as freshmen, ISA has been preparing you to grapple with the world and its events as they unfold through simulation after simulation and even simulations of the simulation, which means you have the tools to ask the right questions and articulate the answers that will help you orient yourself toward your ideal future, which will look different for each of you. This is not to dismiss whatever you're feeling about the state of your senior year or the state of the world at this moment. Whether you're disappointed, anxious, apathetic, or even excited that you get to stay home and away from people. Whatever you're feeling right now, that is completely valid, but my point is a very ISA one. To embrace multiple perspectives at this moment. To see it both as the global pandemic that it is, while also looking at it as an avenue for self-discovery, which is a perfect segue to my next point as we flash back to freshman year. In many ways, freshman year was defined for all of us by the tragic passing of Mr. Dehart, quite possibly the most legendary human I've ever known. Teaching alongside him was an experience I'll never forget, and for both of us, I think worlding in its atypical, sometimes seemingly nonsensical, borderline radical approach to public school education was our attempt at the ideal classroom experience for you. As freshmen walking into our classroom or normal schooling, I'm sure none of you were ready for us locking you out of the room and turning out the lights so you could look at Lascaux cave paintings, or the fact that the only homework assignments we ever gave you were something like bring your sunglasses to school, so you could investigate the hidden messages around campus after we showed you scenes from a weird movie called They Live. You probably weren't expecting to study migration so in depth, have so many Socratic circles, undergo a poverty simulation at Heifer, dress up to dramatize myths for elementary schoolers through storytelling, have your first Monza experience as journalists, and learn and argue about the global impacts of climate change at Do Just. Or ask the big questions with the gorilla we like to call Ishi. Read The Alchemist and begin thinking about your personal legend through your final project. Meet Mr. Mac, our intern, and of course, ask you to put your chromies in Nicolas Cage's so many Paul Blart segues, the dang huh protocol that we invented just for your class, and the countless times your minds were blown and had to be wiped up with moist towelettes. If you'll remember, the essential question for Worlding was, what does it mean to be human? And looking back now, I think we were exploring and finding answers to that question even more than I realized at the time. As teachers, Dehart and I cared that you knew everyone's name in your class, that you could collaborate with one another and exchange thoughts with others, even if they were different from yours. That you could not only learn to express your ideas, but also to ask probing questions, and to show the importance of balancing both the intellectual pursuit and the quest to find joy in the everyday through our shared human experience. And all the jokes we had, even the borderline inappropriate ones that were said and led Dehart to do his I'm blushing routine. Life and the experience of it should not be unidimensional. Many of you stepped into Worlding with looks of puzzlement on your face, and many of you still left with that perplexed look in your eyes unchanged. But I hope you realize that, as teachers, we had the big picture in mind, helping you become a better person as a whole. It's been amazing to see the transformation you've undergone from the 9th grade kids you were when your ISA career began to the young adults you've become as seniors. Your growth astonishing me every time I've seen you as I've subbed over the past few years. Going forward, I hope you continue to ponder not only what does it mean to be human, but what does it mean to be you? My favorite producer, Adrian Young, says your goal in life is to become the dopest version of yourself. So you must put in the time to manifest the best you. The number one thing to invest in is yourself. And that's an idea to hold dear. So I want to leave you with a final, surprising, possibly blasphemous piece of advice from Kendra 1. Make sure you're seated and your moist towelettes are ready. Here it is. Don't settle the kettle. That's right. What I mean is, don't put a damper on your enthusiasm for something, and don't let others do that either. Don't devalue your passions. Don't neglect your personal legend. Pursue what you truly burn for. I wish you the best in whatever your future holds, and I'm deeply honored to have been your teacher. Class of 2020, you'll always have a special, singular place in my heart. You give me faith in the future of the world. Take care and stay in touch. And of course, stay Gucci.
Welcome back, seniors. I hope you enjoyed Mr. Anderson's reflection on your time as 9th graders here at ISA. Each year, the senior team and I collaborate to identify and select students for a few special recognitions. This year, perhaps different from prior years, has proved especially challenging for all of us. As you listen to the adjectives used to describe this year's recipients, you may see what we're talking about. The first special recognition is named for the 4th principal at ISA. It's the Kathy Beezer Global Citizenship Award, and it's bestowed upon ISA senior or seniors who most exemplify the 4 domains of global competency outlined in the ISA graduate profile. Those are, in case you need reminding, investigate the world, weigh multiple perspectives, communicate ideas, and take action. For the second year in a row, we have 2 recipients for the Kathy Beezer Global Citizenship Award. This year's first recipient goes out of their way to help everyone. They demonstrate hard work, responsibility, and compassion on a daily basis. Extremely pleasant to be around, their teachers describe them as respectful, mature, trustworthy, kind, and intelligent. I've always loved to listen to this student as they sit outside of Ms. Ramirez's classroom or in the Career Center, telling stories about what they did or learned on a daily basis while they wait for their ride home after school each day. This year's first recipient of the Kathy Beezer Global Citizenship Award is Perrette Tombo. Congratulations, Perrette. This year's second recipient regularly helps students who are struggling. They're not just dependable, they are very dependable. They're also responsible, respectful, and proactive. In particular, the student always puts their best foot forward as they start any task that they're a part of. This person seems equally comfortable being the face of an organization or sometimes stepping back and completing the work that's necessary to finish the job. This year's second recipient of the Kathy Beezer Global Citizenship Award is Claire Wilson. Congratulations, Claire. Now settle back and enjoy the reflection of Dr. Ryan Sprott as he looks back to your sophomore year.
Hello. I hope y'all are all doing well. I'm so sorry that I can't see you in person, but I'm very glad that I have this opportunity to send this message to you. So before I get going with this, I want to talk just really briefly about sometimes teachers remember or don't remember the way certain years go with certain classes. So, for example, if somebody asks me who graduated in 2013, it takes me a second, but then all of a sudden, like, the names start flooding back. Funny things that happen at lunch, right, or in class, it all starts to come together. That said, sometimes it takes a second to get the year with a class. I say that because a few weeks ago, I was hanging out with your sophomore teachers, over Zoom, of course. I was hanging out with Miss Bronner, Miss Smith, and Miss Sporer, and we were talking about the class that's going to graduate this year. And somebody said, "No, what group was that again?" And all of a sudden it was like, they were the awesome ones. They were so much fun. They were the ones who were like, they were so kind to each other, kind to us, and willing to try things out. Just kind of this like joyful pursuit of learning. Miss Sporer even said, she said, they were the ones who laughed at my Friday jokes. I didn't realize this until after we had during that Zoom call. Miss Sporer said that she'd been trying those jokes out for 3 years, and they finally landed with your class. So she was so thankful. So I say that because we really, really loved you guys, and you made it a joy to come to class all of the time. It was a wonderful year. And so before I go much further, I just want to say thank you for our time together. Thank you for making that year so special. Thanks for how you treated each other and treated us, and how you treated your approach to learning was super, super special. So I'll always be appreciative of the class of 2020, and I'm so honored to get to share a few things with you. So I've been thinking a little bit about what made your class so unique, right? What was it? I think that you probably all as individuals had definitely, obviously, like a capacity for compassion, for care, for fun before you got to ISA. I think anybody who knows you could attest to that. But I think there was something unique that was forged in for you, like as you were ninth graders before you entered the 10th grade. And I think it has to do with resilience and courage. And so that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about today, is about resiliency and courage. And to start with, I'm going to share this poem by this, just an excerpt from this poem by this poet named Jane Hirschfield about resilience. And come to admire resilience. Not the simple resistance of a pillow whose foam returns over and over to the same shape, but the sinuous tenacity of a tree. Finding the light newly blocked on one side, it turns another. And I love this description of resilience, right? It's not this pillow that pops back. Every time you press on it, it comes back to where it once was. I think resilience, when we're resilient, it's all about change, right? And how we adapt. So this tree whose light is blocked, when we're resilient, we reshape, we reform in unexpected and often beautiful ways as we reach towards the light to continue to grow and grow and grow. So I think through resilience, we can learn a lot of things about ourselves because of the change that it opens up for us. For example, we may learn to trust in new ways. We may learn that we have new skills or interests that we had never really thought about before. And I think most importantly about resilience and this courage is that we're resilient when it feels like the earth has shattered under our feet, right? Where we don't really know where we stand or how to stand, or we don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. And I think that's really one of the scariest things out there, is when people don't know what their day tomorrow will be, right? What is it going to look like tomorrow? But when we're resilient, like that tree, we know we can adapt to anything. So I know in your first year at ninth grade, you went through an incredible challenge, and it probably felt somewhat like the earth shattered beneath your feet. I know personally that Mr. Dehart's passing was the hardest thing that I have ever dealt with as an educator. And like you all, I'm not the same person that I was before, right? It was super, super difficult. But like the tree in the poem, I've shifted and found new ways to reach toward the light. I've learned to trust and lean into people in ways that I hadn't imagined before. I've become more vulnerable, and I've been able to pursue the things that I burned for in ways that I hadn't imagined. So when I taught you, when you came in as 10th graders, I could tell there was something different about you. And looking back, I'm certain that it had to do with the resilience and the courage that forged you as 9th graders. And that you didn't just pop back to who you were, right? You changed. You probably became more open to trusting one another, right? More open to pursuing the things that you want to burn for. More open to caring about the world in new and interesting ways. You were so all the classes I've ever taught, you trusted each other, you trusted yourselves, and you trusted your teachers, and to an extent I've never seen. You are fearless and joyful in your pursuit of learning. So now you're going through another challenge with this pandemic, and it's certainly the strangest thing I've ever experienced in my life. So my advice for you is to consider what resilience and courage really mean. It's not that pillow, the pillow that pops back to what it once was, right? It's the tree that grows in unexpected and beautiful ways. And so how will you continue to grow, adapt, and move and shift in ways that you have never really even imagined before? Because when I picture your faces and I picture who you are, you make me very, very hopeful about the future. Your kindness, your warmth, your joy, your resilience, your courage is exactly the type of thing that our world needs now. So celebrate and continue to forge your resilience. It can be your superpower, and the world really, really needs you. So I say this to all ISA graduating seniors, this next part, not just to y'all. But because of your educational experiences the last 4 years, you are uniquely positioned to lead in a world that desperately needs you, right? I know it may not always have felt like that, like mastery grades could be a burden and trip planning could be tedious and things like that. It didn't always feel great, but you've had a really, really unique and powerful experience. And as you get out into the world, that will only become more evident. This year I've traveled to schools. I've had this great opportunity to travel to schools all across the country. And I can say with more authority than ever before that ISA is a special place. And you have this, you've built the capacity to do the things that the world really needs, right? To recognize perspectives, to look at complex real world events in deep ways with an analysis, things that you would just look around you, right? You know that we need these things. And as the world becomes more increasingly connected, as our populations are booming, right? The way we get information is changing all of the time. We need people like you to lead. So I hope that you will take courage and really acknowledge the resilience that you have built and not hesitate to lead as you go forward. Don't be shy about it. You are a special group of people and you've had a wonderful opportunity here. You make me very excited about the future. So I just want to say thank you again for allowing me to share some words with you. Thank you for the year that we had together, your sophomore year. It was truly one of the best years I've ever had as a teacher. So thank you. Best of luck. I love you all. Take care.
Seniors, I hope you enjoyed Dr. Sprott's reflection about your time as sophomores here at ISA. And now it's time for our second special presentations for the Senior Awards ceremony. The second special presentation is the ISA Principals Awards. There are 2 recipients this year, and these recipients both happen to be athletes. This year's first recipient is described by teachers as someone who puts a ton of effort into everything, and they're always ready and willing to work and give their best effort. They're respectful. This is an adjective that really stood out for this student, and they've overcome great struggles to get where they are today. In fact, so respectful that I can't think of a time that I've ever interacted with this student when the word yes and sir or no and sir were not somewhere in the statements made to me. This year's first recipient of the ISA's Principal Award is Jack Cochran. Congratulations, Jack. Our second Principals Award recipient can be described as energetic, friendly, outgoing, and positive. They have a penchant for making class videos, I'm told, and they always include a smiley face after their name on everything, every single time. Now, I didn't know about the smiley face part, but it makes total sense because I think I've been greeted by a smile by this next recipient every single time I see them in the hallway. There was one exception, and that was on May 1st. That was the first time I'd ever seen tears from the second recipient. The second Principals Award recipient this year is Maddie Stevenson. Maddie, congratulations. I hope you can sit back and enjoy the reflections of your United States history teacher, Mrs. Kate Foster.
I have had the ultimate privilege of getting to be your teacher for 2 years in a row and seeing you grow into the incredible humans that you are today and that I am proud to know. I was lucky enough to travel with you to New Mexico, Alabama, DC, and some of you all the way to China. I have cried with you, I have commiserated with you, I have laughed with you, and I have learned so much from and with you. What I want to talk to you about today, though, is how I have seen you and celebrated with you. A teacher has many jobs, but one that I think is near the top of the list of important things is making my students feel seen, their passions recognized, their efforts celebrated. What I mean by this is that I've tried hard to be aware of what you're doing and recognize the effort and hard work that you put into it, and then to tell you at the end that, hey, I see you. This has taken shape in a million different ways, but I think that if you think about it, every single one of you sitting here can, or watching this, I guess, can remember a time when I or another teacher spoke to you personally and said, I see what you did, and I'm so proud of you. I kind of think of this as channeling my inner D-Heart. I've spoken before about how grateful I was to have had D-Heart as my first mentor teacher, because through him and Candor, I saw how important it was for a teacher to be there for their students, to let them know that they were seen and cared for. And so I've tried my best for the past 3 years to do just that, to search for and find celebratory moments to let each one of you know that you are seen. Sometimes these celebratory moments are about school, about learning. Maybe this was at the end of a Saturday school when you finally turned in all of that missing work. Maybe it was when you got into the college that you wanted, or got the scholarship package that you needed. Maybe it was at the end of Musket Madness when you just blew everybody's mind sophomore year because you had so many sick burns about Atlantic revolutions. Maybe it was when you had that light bulb moment and connected something that happened 200 years ago with events going on right here, right now. After a moment like this, I might say something to you like, whoa, that was awesome, I'm so proud of you. Sometimes these celebratory moments are totally not related to school, but about your personal interests instead. This looks like getting excited when you get into a study abroad program, and then asking and listening to your stories when you get home. It's looked like celebrating your success at an air rifle competition or a choir show. It's looked like cheering on at your soccer, basketball, volleyball, and football games, then talking to you about it afterwards so that you know that I was really there for you. It's saying, oh yeah, when you finally get your driver's license. It's been any time where you told me something and I said, dang dude, it's super cool that you did that. Then there's the most beautiful celebratory moments that I love the most, when I get to see you grow as a person. These have happened inside the classroom, outside of it, inside Texas, outside of it, and often they're in more quieter, subtle ways. Maybe it was at the end of your social justice project where you were so frustrated with your group, But you did it, you persevered, and you made something that you were proud of. Maybe it was the times when you forced yourself outside of your comfort zone and into developing your own stances, like when we determined who was to blame for the Mexican repatriation. Maybe it was being there for your peers, sharing your tears, your fears, your truths, all inside of one single debrief. Maybe it was allowing yourself to listen fully to each other's "this I believe" at the end of junior year. Maybe it was when you stopped by my classroom at any point during your senior year, sometimes at really inopportune moments, like in the middle of my lectures or during Mr. Flieger's English class, to tell me about something that you'd done, a cool thought that you'd had, or a decision you were trying to make. After moments like these, I don't always say, "Dang, I'm so proud of you," but I guarantee you that I'm thinking it. All of you are about to go into a world where everyone is on a different path. I mean, sure, everyone always has done their things their own way, but for the most part, until you graduate from high school, you're doing similar things as everyone else around you. Each year you move on to the next grade, you do the big projects that everyone else is doing, you all turn 16, 17, then 18, you graduate. That's the path that everyone is on, right? These are things that the world knows about, that everyone expects, that most people are ready to celebrate with for you. But after this, you're going into a world where your path is different, and not everyone is always going to know what it is that you're doing that's worth seeing and recognizing and celebrating with you. That's how it is and always has been for everyone, and why you probably now see so many millennial memes about adulting being so hard. So with that in mind, I have two challenges for you. The first is to tell people what it is you're working for. Tell people the things that you're doing that you're proud of, that you're scared of, that you want to attempt, but you're not sure that you're going to be able to do. Tell people when you've accomplished something that you're proud of, or that you had to work to achieve. This could be so many different things. It could be when your roommate in college says something that you don't agree with, and you stand up to them. This could be when you take your first college exam and pass. This could be when you get your first out of high school job, your first paid internship, when you finally break that bad habit that you started during quarantine. The rest of the world won't always realize what constitutes success for you, but I can promise you that there will always be someone there willing to celebrate with you if you just say so. The world can be a scary place, but it's not as scary if you're willing to be vulnerable and tell people about your progress. The second thing that I want you to do is recognize that just like your teachers have done for you, you can be the one to make others feel seen. The world is a big place, and everyone around you is just as in need of support as you are. You have the ability to recognize people, to see them, and to make them feel seen. I've watched this community grow strong in the 3 years that I've been a part of it. I've seen you build each other up. I've seen really, really scared sophomores stand in front of the class to give a speech, and genuine words of encouragement before and after. I've seen you give high fives to each other when you turn in a late assignment, or that really subtle nod, like that, when one of your peers makes a strong argument in the middle of an impromptu in-class debate. I've seen you have each other's back, defending your friends and defending those who aren't necessarily your friends, but it's the right thing to do. I've seen you compliment each other's artistic ventures, be it random music in the hallways, a project from Ms. Puentes's class, a performance at the junior rite of passage, or even just a really, really cool doodle on the side of one of Ms. Ramirez's math homeworks. Keep doing that kind of thing and do it intentionally. Watch each other's social medias, comment on their posts, or reach out one-on-one. That's even better. Make a phone call. Ask your friends what they're working on so that you can be there for them when they succeed, or you can keep encouraging them when they don't. Feeling seen is important and powerful, and that's a power that you all have. Use it. Be someone's Mrs. Foster, someone's Mr. DeHart, someone's supporter. Thank you all so much for letting me be there for you for the past 3 years. Thank you for giving me a million celebration-worthy moments. Thank you all for letting me see you and for seeing me. Remember that you are loved, and though we might not always see each other in person, I will always be willing to celebrate the you that you are working to become.
Welcome back, and thank you, Ms. Foster, for offering your reflection of our ISA seniors when they were junior students in your classroom. Our next special recognition is the Northeast Independent Superintendent's Award. This year's recipient is described as an all-around great student and person. Teachers use these adjectives to describe this senior: responsible, respectful, intelligent, charismatic, humble, compassionate, trustworthy, caring, and kind. In my own experience, I think the best way to think about it is this right combination of self-assuredness and humility that makes this person so endearing to others. This year's ISA recipient of the NEISD Superintendent's Award is Anya Hansen. Congratulations, Anya. Now sit back and enjoy the final reflection of this presentation. Your senior teacher, Mr. Eric Cavazos.
Hey everyone, this is Mr. Cavazos, and there's two parts to my speech today. The first part's really just context setting. So I co-authored this speech with a artificial neural network known as OpenAI, and this of course is in honor of our structural unemployment unit in macroeconomics. So what I did is I wrote half of a speech, and then I kind of fed it to and prompted this artificial intelligence to help me craft and write the second half of the speech, and then I kind of meshed the two together. So this is a nice collaboration of man and machine. So while you're listening to it, I hope you kind of keep an ear open and say, yeah, that's a sentence definitely crafted by by OpenAI, or maybe that's a sentence that Cavazos definitely wrote. Anyways, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be recording this. Here's my speech, my senior year reflection. During the 3 days prior to this speech, I went on a journey of reflection. I read many books, sought out advice from masters, and engaged in deep introspection. My journey only led me to more unanswered questions, and it's these unanswered questions that continue to drive me. This is the point of reflection: to grow, move forward, and be aware, all in order to better create future moments of happiness and peace. So please, reflect with me. There are a couple of immediate things that come to mind when I think of the class of 2020. I think of a packed classroom during lunch, our 6-week journey of meditation. I think about Valentine's Day and the hundreds of songs that were sung. So I think about skilled artists and skilled writers. I think about an odd but genuine sense of humor. For example, a chess piece named Gary really seemed to lift the spirits and bring the smiles. The collective kindness of the senior class comes to mind as well, along with all those sweet Supreme Court cases we learned about. If I were to think back even further, when everyone in the class of 2020 were just juniors, I remember standing outside my door and staring across the hall into Miss Foster's class. I remember thinking, boy, are they always like this? Yes, was the answer you all gave me during the first weeks of school. You were a class of friends, ready to laugh and have fun, and unafraid to vent about the strange, wistful doubts about the government and economic policies that define us. You question the infallibility of the market and those in power, sometimes openly, sometimes quietly, and sometimes with a ferocity I hope may never fade. You were a class of friendship. I've witnessed good friends always ready to share their perspective, always ready to listen. I've seen friendships based on mutual respect in a way that seamlessly merged into a shared dynamic with an equal ability to influence each other in the best ways. You were a class of kindness. It's a characteristic I've seen of a lot this past year. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that. Of course, kindness is a general concept, which is not necessarily a virtue in and of itself. In fact, according to the path of the sages, kindness is generally described as the virtue that springs from a willingness to learn about other people, and more importantly, the willingness to open up about ourselves in the process. In economics, we learn about the scarcity of resources. However, kindness itself is infinite, as its only limit is the character of a person and their willingness to act. Even though our year was cut short, we still have archived the threads of memories from the good times of senior year. So why are the good times called good times? It's because they were full of emotions we all needed. They had every emotion: happiness, love, sadness, anger, denial, pride, and the list goes on. They were good times because we experienced those emotions together. We were not just experiencing them on our own, but we welcomed the expressions of those emotions by inviting others to join in as well. At some point, all of us leave our good times behind and move on with our lives. But there will always be another. There will always be another good times, and they will always be impossible to forget.
I hope you enjoyed the final reflection for this year's virtual Senior Awards presentation. There are a few more recognitions I'd like to make at the end of this presentation. The first is to honor this year's top-ranking graduate. Matthew Peck has earned that honor. Congratulations, Matthew. Parents, one of the saddest things of missing the Senior Awards presentation this last May 17th was that this is the one time we really get to take advantage of offering our thanks and recognition of all of you. Parents, I have seen you in your happiest moments. I have seen you in your most frustrating moments. I have seen you in your most grief-stricken moments. And I have traveled with you to Alabama with this group of students and to Washington, D.C. I want to thank each and every one of you for your commitment to each of your students here at ISA. And I want to thank you for your patience and your understanding and sometimes your honesty with me as the principal. I know it hasn't been easy, especially these last couple of months when all of the hopes and things that we wanted to celebrate are not able to happen in the way that we wished. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for choosing ISA. Seniors, one final moment of reflection for all of you. As I look through the plans that you all have made for next year, I realize how well represented our country is and how well represented ISA will be next year as you begin your future, whether it be through college or university, through military service, or through other pursuits. One thing I want to leave you with is sometimes I think we wonder about the status of the choice we made. And I really think it's about effort sometimes. I know that one thing we've taught you all is that you choose what is right for you when it's right for you. And I know that the choices that you all have made with your families for next year's plans are those that are right for you. And I know that you will reap the rewards of the work that you put in your studies in the future. We love you. We miss you. We're so excited at the possibility of seeing you all on June 1st at ISA for our in-person graduation event. We hope you enjoyed this presentation, and we hope you have a good rest of this school year. Thank you.